Hey ladies, thanks for joining me today. If you are new to my channel, my name is Mitzi and I'm a Paper Girlie. And if you're a returner, well, welcome back. Okay, gals, what are we talking about today? Well, you know what we're talking about because you saw the thumbnail. We are talking about empty nest. We are talking about being empty nesters. And yes, I do realize that some of you gals out there, you have been empty nesters for a long, long time. Your children are, way, way grown. However, for some of us, like me, we are new to this game. We are new to being empty nesters. And full transparency, I'm kind of a fake. I'm kind of a fake empty nesters, because if you're not new to my channel, then you know that my children live upstairs. My children live upstairs and I live downstairs in the mother-in-law apartment. But the reason for that is because of the location that we live in. My kids are what I call junior adults. They are in their early 20s and we live in the Seattle metro area. And honestly, I mean, oh goodness, rent is so expensive here. And so we are giving them their opportunity to live at home for a while longer so that they can financially prepare to go out on their own and be successful at that. However, my kids have gone away to college. They have gone away to college, spent some time away at home. They have just come and returned back. We have 2 living upstairs right now, and then 1 that will be coming back in June to reside upstairs in the main home. Okay, so we are on a new week. Yesterday we talked about menopause. Today we are talking about empty nesting. And we're doing a little bit different this week because we are in the present. We are in the present this week. And so instead of just doing a definition of the topic, we are using, I am just putting out a quote about the topic. And so today's quote comes from, well, a guy that I think we all know, especially if you live in America, but I think he's known everywhere in the world because this quote comes from Barack Obama. And this is a quote that he is known for having said about children growing up. And of course, in our instance here, then leaving the home. So, got my notebook. This is the quote. He says, "Our job as parents is to teach our kids to not need us. And it hurts. But when you see them as accomplished, confident, kind, thoughtful, responsible people, then you know you've done your job right." And girls, my own father said something very similar to this when my kids were, getting older. And he was actually saying it in the instance of me, saying that he always saw his job as a father was to work himself out of a job, by me learning what I needed to learn in order to go out there into the world on my own independently with all the key things that I needed and able to do that. So, okay, so that is the quote, a little backstory about my father, and then let's get to the prompts. So these are the prompts that I picked out. And girls, actually the prompts today, I have 3 prompts so that you can, pick and choose what works best for you, what you feel comfortable with, what actually has meaning for you in the life that you have, because like I just said about my own kids, we are all in different stages of this. Some of us have had kids that have been gone for a long, long time. Some of us have kids that are, halfway out or possibly on their way out. And goodness, it would be remiss of me if I didn't acknowledge that I recognize that there are some ladies out there, some moms out there, that they have kids that might have some special needs of their own that will keep them from ever leaving the home. And so I want to be sensitive to that. And so I also picked out a quote, or not a quote, but a prompt that kind of deals on that level as well. So the journal prompts for the day. We have one that is all about processing emotions. And that could be grief as you see your child grow up and leave your home. That could be relief in finally they're out of the home. And that could be just the joy of knowing that, hey, you did your job and now they have gone out and forged their own path in life. So that is, what do you miss most about having my children at home? What do you miss most about having your kids around? Because yes, we have had our kids around for a long, long time. When they finally come of age or move out of the home or whatever period of time that takes. And there are things that we do miss. We get scheduled in our lives as moms. There are certain meals that I used to cook on a regular basis because they were my kids' favorites. So yeah, that is something that probably down the road I will miss. I will miss about this time. And so that is the first one, about processing emotions. And then the second one is for the moms that have kids that maybe, for whatever reason, they will not be leaving the home. Not anytime soon. So that is about looking forward and new purpose. And so the prompt that I have for you ladies in this situation is, what are my hopes for my future relationship with my adult child? Because goodness, even though they may not be leaving the home anytime soon, they are adults. So, what are your hopes for what that relationship looks like? Because, they're not children anymore. They may not, even if they have some needs that keep them from being fully independent, the needs that they have as a child are not the same needs that they need from you as an adult. So that is the second journal prompt. And then the third journal prompt, the third one deals with identity and self-rediscovery. Because goodness, just like what we talked about yesterday with menopause, we're on to a whole new chapter when it comes to having our children leave the home if we were mothers. And that prompt is, well, it's kind of a fill in the blank. It's, before I was a parent, I used to love whatever. We all loved things before we were parents, before we were moms, and a lot of us gave up some of those things in order to focus on being a mom, focus on raising our children. So what is something that you as a mom used to love that you can rediscover again now? Okay, so gals, if all you wanted was the little introduction and the prompts, there you go. You got them. And goodness, if you're new to my channel, then I hope that you will like and subscribe so that you can come back tomorrow, because every single day, Monday through Friday, we are talking about different topics for women of a certain age that I think that we need to, well, not only need to, but we deserve to talk about, to have these conversations. Okay, so if that's all you wanted, then hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, for the rest of you gals who are just going to hang out with me for a while, we know what time it is, and girls, it's story time. Okay, so as I alluded to before, my children have not left the home, so I am not really an empty nester, not really. However, yeah, my kids have left the home before. My kids have gone away to college. And when it comes to the whole idea of empty nesters, it's the fact that we are transitioning into a time where our kids are not at home, where it's just us. This nest, when we first have kids, right before you have a baby, then they call that nesting. They call that nesting. And now all of a sudden, all this preparation that we did in order to have children in our home, in our lives, suddenly now we don't need that nest anymore necessarily, not the same way. So that's what I'm here to talk about. Because yeah, girls, my kids have left before. They've gone away to college, and that was an emotional time. That was a transitional time. So that's what I'm going to talk about here today, just real briefly. So if you were here on Friday, then you know all about my daughter Molly, and the resilience that she had to really go through in order to get to the place where she went off to college. And goodness, were we excited that she was going off to college? Yes, we were. But goodness, when I dropped her off at college, was it hard on me? Oh my goodness, yes it was. It was. She went away to college in Portland, and granted, that is only a 3.5-hour drive away, but girls, there was not a word said in the car ride home, and not between me and Mr. Paper. And it was because he knew, he knew that, I was feeling fragile. I was feeling sensitive. I was feeling all the feelings. And I just sat in the passenger seat and basically cried all the way home, just because, well, I was excited for Molly to go off into the world and just gain independence and, have this whole new world opening up to her. Gosh, I was used to having her a home with me. And we know that first 2 years of her life, it was just me and her. And then everything that I went through with Molly, we had a really tight bond, even during those years where, holy cow, those teenage years were a little bit rocky, a little bit difficult for me and, my little moo-moo. But yeah, so that was a transitional period of time. And then girls, she went to college during the pandemic. So she was home. She was home for, gosh, a year and a half during the pandemic, doing college from home. So, that was a whole new experience, having a grown child at home that had gone off, gained some independence, and then was suddenly zapped back into the home. So that was my experience with Molly. Then Chris went away to college, and again, I thought I dealt with it the first time around, but no, I had not. And he went down to college in Portland for that first year before he transferred back up closer to home. But he went to Portland as well, went to the same college that Molly did in Portland. And oh my goodness, and Chris is probably the most independent of my kids, and he was ecstatic. He was so excited to finally be living the home. But gosh, that first week of him being gone was difficult. Now, did I have the tears for 3 hours on the way home for Chris? No, I had, been able to pull it in and get a grip on the idea that, yeah, they go away, you have the feelings, but they're not going to be gone forever. I was able to deal with that better. However, that first week, once again, my mommy brain was just going off thinking, is he okay? Is he lonely? Yada, yada. I was envisioning, my little baby Chris sitting at a lunch table by himself, all by himself. He was not. He thrived. He thrived away at college. And yeah. And then my baby Nick, my baby George went off to college. He was actually only gone for 1 quarter. He realized really, really quick that, college was not for him, and it is not for everyone. And goodness, now he's doing the apprentice program with Mr. Paper. He is living his best life. Oh my goodness, this kid is living his best life. And ladies, if you have, I was going to say boys, but it is open to boys and, girls as well. But the trades, that is a great, great avenue to go into. And we need those people. We need those people because America is just growing leaps and bounds, and they need people in the trades in order to build the things that we need for America to thrive. So, Nick and Molly are back at home right now. They are living upstairs, and they are mostly independent. The ways that they aren't independent are really because of me, because I'm having a hard time letting go and transitioning out of just being full-time mom. But goodness, on the other hand, on the flip side of that, gosh, it feels nice having them being independent and not having to have that same relationship that, taking care of daily things that I used to really, really feel burdened with. Yeah, that's nice. And so that is what I have to talk about when it deals with empty nesting. And goodness, and I'm not talking out of school. They all know this, that when they finally do have that opportunity to go out into the world, and for me to just be here all by myself, here in the corner by myself, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that because goodness, if you have heard me talk about Mr. Paper and me and our journey, and I have a whole video on that, about our journey back to find each other, to be together. It was a long time coming, and I have only been with him for a little bit over a decade. And so even though I have children that are young junior adults, in their 20s, I have not been with Mr. Paper all that time. And I am looking forward to having some time where it's just me and Mr. Paper, because a lot of, couples that have, have children together, they had time together before they had children to really just focus on themselves and just celebrate being in that relationship together. And me and Mr. Paper, we didn't have that because we were plunked down as a family into Mr. Paper's life. And goodness, has it been a great life? Yeah, it has. But am I looking forward to just having some alone time, real alone time with Mr. Paper, just me and him on a daily basis? Yes, I am. And for you gals out there that may have children that, for whatever the circumstance is, they will not be leaving the home anytime soon, then let me just say, goodness, embrace this new phase of life in a different way. Learn what is going to bring you joy as your child has grown into adulthood or is growing into adulthood. Take some time for yourself because, goodness, yes, there may be circumstances where they can't leave the home for whatever reason. At this point in your lives, I really hope that you take the time to be able to focus on yourself and take some of that independency of yourself back to yourself. Okay, so that is my story. Let's wrap it up. Let's get back to these prompts real quick, and then I have another great quote about being an empty nester or having grown children, however you want to look at it. Okay, so once again, the prompts are the first one, processing emotions. What do I miss most about having my children at home? Number 2 is about looking forward and new purpose. What are my hopes for my future relationship with my adult child? Or even, in the context of what is my hopes for my future relationship with myself as I have an adult child at home. Okay? And then the third one is about identity and self-rediscovery. And that is the fill in the blank. Before I was a mother, I used to love whatever. Okay, so those are the prompts. And so, girls, thank you again for joining me here today. As I said before, if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would like and subscribe so that you can come back and continue on, join in the conversations that we have here. We have a great community here on YouTube. We also have a community over on Facebook, and I forget to mention it often in these videos, but we have a Facebook group called the Paper Girlie Studio. It's where women of a certain age go and just have community. We do things like Happy Meal exchanges. We do things like sharing pictures of our journal prompts, because we are all about journaling here at the Paper Girlie Studio. And then on the weekends, we do get-togethers, live streams where we do arts and crafts together. Sometimes, well, most of the time, I'm just on there yippity-yapping about whatever I'm yippity-yapping about, but just having community. And so if you want to join that, then go over. There is a link in the description, actually, that will pop you over there. There are a couple questions for you to answer, and it's just so that I know that you came from over here. And then Facebook will pop you through, and then you can be part of our community. Okay, so the quote that I'd like to use to kind of, wrap this all up is from a novelist named Joyce Maynard. And this is what she says. She says, "It's not only children who grow, parents do too. As much as we watch to see what our children do with their lives, they're watching us to see what we do with ours." So, goodness, be an example. Be an example that you've always wanted to be to your kids as they have grown up, as they continue to then go out into the world. They are looking to us to see, hey, you know what? What is mom doing now? Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully you'll come back and join us again tomorrow. Until then, from one paper girlie to another. Bye.